Now, I feel as though this might be a little controversial and triggering for some, but I feel like in a good way. I feel like if this triggers you, it's maybe a sign that you need to do some internal reflection because there's definitely times where I say these things to myself and I'm like trying to intellectualize my way out of it, and it's just not good. It's not safe. So here's the premise: sweet treats does not equal self care. Getting yourself a sweet treat every single day, or like, I don't know, most days out of the week, does not equate to self care and self love. And if anything, it equates to self sabotage. And it's really easy to like conceptualize it in your brain in a way of like, oh, I'm treating myself, I'm caring for myself. I like this. It tastes good. It's just a small little thing. How harmful can it really be? But it's not entirely harmless, especially when this is like a routine thing. You're getting a sweet treat, you know, every single day, or like you're allowing yourself to reach for that cookie every single day. You're allowing yourself to indulge in those highly processed treats that just aren't good for you. Like they're filled with processed carbs, processed sugars, probably preservatives, and all in all, they're just not good for you and your body. And I would maybe propose the point that the reason why we as a collective maybe feel the need so much to indulge in these things is rooted out of a desire for like comfort or care, indulgence, as opposed to just like straight up self love and self care. Because I feel like if you really loved yourself and cared for yourself wholly, truly, genuinely, and completely, you would be reaching for a banana as a sweet treat, or strawberries, or Greek yogurt with, some honey, some berries, some granola, whatever. And this isn't to discount all sweet treats. Like some sweet treats are good, sweet treats are great. And it's obviously really important to allow yourself flexibility in your diet and your eating habits. And, it's definitely not good to be really restrictive with like, no, I'm cutting out sweet treats entirely, no sweet treats at all, completely done with them. However, I think there's a very fine line between like allowing yourself that flexibility where if you have the option of veggies and hummus or cookies or crackers, that you're going to choose the veggies and dip over the cookies and crackers 9 times out of 10. And then maybe the one time out of 10, you want to treat yourself to a little coffee and croissant or donut or whatever you have it. However, I think it's really cruel to ourselves to brainwash ourselves into thinking that sweet treats are fine and they're okay to have every single day, every other day. It's okay to indulge and indulge every single day or every other day or at every single meal or every single dinner time or every single time you watch a movie. Like I am very prone to this myself where like I grew up having Friday nights as like the family movie night, and it was really special because we got to have soda and we got to have chips and we got to have candy, and those were all things that we weren't really allowed to have throughout the week on the normal day to day. But now that I live by myself, I have full control and full autonomy over how many movie nights I have a week, what kinds of snacks and treats and sodas that I indulge in when I have these movie nights. And in my brain, this whole movie night self-care event comes as like a package, and it's kind of like a go-to thing to wind down and relax, right? However, it can be really harmful when we don't allow ourselves the flexibility to change what this package looks like to us in our mind, in our expectations of what that night is going to look like, and our preparation for it, and then our execution of it. Because we're definitely creatures of habit, and I think it's really easy to get into the habit of like, oh, this is the way I do things, so this is the way I'm always going to do it. Yet, sometimes the way we do things isn't always helpful. It's not always healthy. It's not always beneficial. And so I think it's really important to take a step back and reevaluate how we're approaching situations, how we're approaching a self-care night or a sweet treat, and really evaluating, like, am I eating this because I'm really hungry? Am I eating this because I want to treat myself? Do I really need this? Does my body and my cells and my organs really want this? Because I think that's entirely different than like if your brain and if your taste buds want it, or if your like microbiome is craving it. Sure, it might sound great, it might look great, you might be salivating at the thought of it, but that doesn't necessarily mean you need it. And I think that's a really crucial distinction to make in your brain of like, am I just craving this? Or is it something that my body actually really needs and deserves to indulge in? Because I think it's really different when, like, maybe, you make it a routine on like Saturdays or Sundays, you go and do your grocery shopping and you get a coffee after and a little sweet treat and you go walk by the water, whatever it is. Like, I think that's all fine and good. However, I think it can become really detrimental to your well-being when that is your automatic resort for self-care and self-love and finding comfort and, just something that you fill your time with because you equate it in your mind with self-love and self-care. Yet in reality, if every single time you leave the house or every other time you leave the house, you're going and getting a sweet treat, every single time you have the option of veggies and cookies or sweet treats and you're choosing the cookies and sweet treats, every single time you're almost poisoning yourself, because we all know that cookies and sweet treats are not good for you. And you could totally 100% and would probably be way better off living your life without any sweet treats, without any added refined sugar, without any processed refined carbs. But we all know how good croissants are. We all know how good donuts are, and freshly baked cookies and brownies and ice cream and all the things. However, you also have to be objective and logical with how you view these things. Not just as good, yummy, tasty treats that, are comfort foods and fill our soul and make us feel all yummy and delicious and good. Because yes, while they can be those things, they can also be and are also poison in a way. They don't have any nutritional value. They're not good for you. Your organs and your body doesn't need them. There's no nutritional value, no minerals, nothing that your body can extract from these things to fuel you. And, it's totally different if you're like maybe running a marathon or maybe training and doing crazy cardio and like, yeah, the ultra refined, ultra processed carbs and sugars are going to be great for that immediate energy and satisfaction. However, what about comparing that to something that's more complex and more whole food and more nutrient dense, like oatmeal, like granola, like Greek yogurt, rice, sourdough bread? There's so many other options that are more satisfying and better for your body in the long run. And I think it's really crucial for us as a collective to work on reframing the association in our brain with sweet treats and indulgence and self-care and self-love, because this is something that I really personally struggle with a lot, and I also pick up on it with some of my friends, some of the people that I surround myself with, and it's not good. It's not good. And I think sometimes it can be as simple, like making this change can be as simple as asking yourself, is this a want or is this a need, right? Because you should be eating to fuel your body, to nourish it, right? Give it the vitamins, the nutrients, the substance that it needs to carry out whatever activities you need to be carrying out, for your brain to work, your organs to work, your body to do all of its bodily processes. However, no part of your body really ever needs a sweet treat to do that. And your body doesn't need to be satisfied and full all the time. If anything, it needs quite the opposite. It needs a little bit less food. It needs, from what I've read, like 80% of your stomach should be full when you're eating. You should be eating to 80% max and nothing more than that. You shouldn't be eating until you're full and you're uncomfortably full and you're stuffed and it hurts to get up, it hurts to sit up, it hurts to breathe. That's just not good because you're overloading your system, you're overloading your organs and putting so much stress on your body to process these things and digest these things that you never really needed to eat in the first place. Like, did you really need that extra 20% food? Did you really need that extra serving? Did you really need that extra big serving? Did you really need to finish your plate? Or could you have put some of the leftovers in the fridge and eaten them later? You know? And some days are going to be different than others. Some days you're going to indulge a little bit more. Some days you're going to enjoy that movie and you're going to snack and you're going to eat tons of candy and tons of chocolate and tons of popcorn and chips, and you might feel sick after it. And that's okay because that's all part of the process of learning and changing and growing and rewiring these ingrained processes in your mind. Because if you're here watching this video and you relate to some of the things that I'm saying, going forward, moving forward, because you watch this video and because you relate to things that I'm saying and you're willing to learn and take some of it in, consciously or unconsciously, it's going to change and adjust the way in which you fuel yourself, the choices you make with food, how often you're pushing the plate back, how big of a serving you're taking, how intuitive you are with your eating. And the more tweaks that you make over time and the more consistent you stay with these tweaks, the easier it becomes to do them, to make the changes and to say no and to choose the veggies over the cookies. And slowly over time, you don't feel burdened or disappointed or upset in making this decision like you probably will be at the beginning of this journey, especially if your body and your microbiome is designed in a way that favors highly processed, sugary, garbage, sweet treat foods. And the more that you choose whole foods that have a high nutritional value, they have minerals, they have nutrients, they have vitamins, your microbiome will slowly change. And the science, from what I've read, shows that those are then the foods that you're going to be craving more as opposed to cookies and chocolate and croissants and donuts and all that processed garbage. And so again, this isn't to say that you have to cut them out entirely because I think that's actually a recipe for disaster. Like, you want to be more consistent than you do extreme. So starting out this journey, you don't want to cut them out entirely and say, no, no more sweet treats, whatever. You want to take it slow and incrementally work your way up to wherever your goal is. If it's to only have a sweet treat once a week, and maybe let's say you're having a sweet treat every day, like a dessert after dinner or something. Maybe you can start by substituting that processed sweet treat with something that's healthier, higher in nutritional value. Like for me, it used to be ice cream. I would have ice cream every single night. And so I started to substitute it with Greek yogurt popsicles that I would sweeten with maple syrup. And I'd put tons of seeds and shit in it, like hemp hearts, flax seeds, chia seeds, and cacao nibs. And so I would make those as a substitute and I would just stop buying ice cream and be like, hey, if you want a sweet treat, if you want ice cream, if you want to satisfy that craving and that indulgence, because it's very much going to be there at the beginning. And this is what the hard part is, the hurdle of getting over the cravings and training your body to say no and be strong enough to choose something else and to sit with your grumbling tummy, to sit with that little bit of hunger before bed, which is really, really good for you. It means your digestive system is working and your metabolism is working and your body has space and energy to focus on other processes as opposed to just trying to digest food all day, every day, all night, You want to leave time for your body to digest, have a break, and just chill and not be working all day, every day, all the time, because that's when burnout happens. That's when you get exhausted and you might not even realize that it's related to your eating habits. But like if you're working, academically for 12 hours a day for a week straight, you're going to burn out. If you're eating and snacking for, like 8, 10, 12 hours of the day, all day, every day, for 7 days of the week, your body and your metabolism and your digestive system is going to burn out and it's not going to be working as efficiently. And so, back to how you can implement these changes into your daily life, specifically with substituting healthier options. Back to my popsicles. Just went on a little side tangent there. But my popsicles are so yummy and they're so good for you and very filling, but they definitely don't have all the chemicals and additives and preservatives and MSG and all those things that are in store-bought ice cream that make you addicted to them and want more and want to eat fucking 10 Magnum chocolate ice cream bars. And so I think I've had one of them since making 3 or 4. Maybe I've had two. No, I've only had one, like weeks ago. And I know that they're there. And when I want to have a sweet treat and I give myself the option of like, okay, well, if you want to have a sweet treat, you can have that thing, that healthy alternative that you made. A lot of the times I'm like, you know what? I'm not really that hungry. I don't really need it that bad. And then I end up choosing to have that alternative when I really need it and want it more, maybe. Like maybe after a run, after a workout, when I'm really hot and sweaty and really hungry, I didn't eat enough to fuel my workout, before working out. So that'll be a quick, easy thing to be like, okay, protein satisfies the cravings. It's delicious, this and that, ready to go. And then instead, I'm indulging in that sweet treat to fuel myself and to satisfy my hunger cravings, as opposed to eating that thing as an additional extra thing on top of a full tummy and a big dinner and right before bed, which is typically when I indulge in my sweet treats. And another thing you can do is like start by reducing portion size. If you're one that likes to binge, likes to eat a big bowl of popcorn, an entire bag of chips, half a bag of chips, maybe start by reducing the portion sizes. Start with like maybe a bowl, filling a bowl with chips, or candy, getting a little candy bowl and filling it with, like 15 little pieces of candy, whatever it is. If you're starting at eating a whole bag of candy in one sitting, maybe reduce it to like half a bag to start. And then from there, you can reduce and reduce and reduce until you're at whatever your goal relationship is with sweet treats. And so get that bowl out, fill it up with a reasonable portion size, and then wrap up the candy, wrap up the food, and put it away in the cupboards. I think that action in and of itself trains your mind and your body and just like yourself in going to indulge in that thing that like, this is the portion I'm giving myself. And you almost have to be like a parent with yourself. Like, I don't know if you guys have ever seen the video where it's like, I miss having my parents cut me off after 2 cookies because now I have like free will and will just demolish the entire plate. So true. And I think we all fall victim to this at certain points in our adult lives where we realize we can just free will it. Nobody's going to stop us. Nobody's going to tell us to push back the plate. And so you can eat and eat and eat and indulge, but nobody's coming to save you. Nobody's coming to tell you to stop. Nobody's coming to tell you to take a break, to push the plate back, to question whether or not you've had enough. And I think that's the hardest part, is having to like build this healthy relationship with yourself and with food and with eating, and having the courage and the strength and the bravery to say, actually, maybe I don't need this. Actually, maybe I've had enough. Maybe it would be really nice to my digestive system and my stomach and my organs to not overindulge, to not eat more than I need. And I think it's really crucial for your health, wellness, longevity to learn how to do that with yourself, to have the self-control to portion out food for yourself, put the rest away and not allow yourself to go back and refill the bowl when you know you don't need it. Because at the end of the day, like, sure, you're getting immediate satisfaction and gratification. Is that it? I don't know. Satiation as well from eating whatever it is that you want to be indulging in. However, after the fact, is it really worth it? Is it really worth it? Like the feelings of being lethargic after and being heavy and being full and being tired and weighed down and then having an upset stomach ache, having troubles going to the washroom, feeling guilty about overindulging. I would argue that it's not that good of a trade-off. It doesn't really balance out because, like, what you have maybe 5 seconds, 5 minutes of enjoyment and comfort and satisfaction with this indulgence. And then all the trade-offs are like lasting for the rest of the evening, all night, for the rest of the day, the next day. And like, if you struggle like with binge eating like I do, you know that this guilt will compel you to think crazy thoughts and make yourself do crazy things to make up for the fact that you overindulged and overate more than you should have. You know, like, oh, I need to run now. I need to do vigorous exercise. I need to do a bunch of cardio to burn off these extra calories and all this extra food. I need to now starve myself. I can't eat until dinner time. I'm, gonna have to fast now. And it's just this vicious cycle of like not controlling yourself, not loving yourself in the way that a caring parent would to their child, letting yourself do whatever you want, and then resorting to really unhealthy, unstable coping mechanisms to comfort yourself and deal with the pain and discomfort and regret and shame of overindulging the night before or the hour before or whatever it is. Because like as great as sweet treats are, and as great as and as important as it is to allow yourself to indulge and allow yourself to enjoy the beautiful pleasures of this life, such as sweet treats, it's also really important that you have self-control with them and you don't let yourself take it too far and you don't let it permeate every little aspect of your life, because it can be really easy to get into this habit of choosing the cookies over the carrots, allowing yourself to have dessert, getting a cake pop with your coffee, getting a cookie because you want to. But the more you allow yourself to get into this habit, I think the harder it is to break it. And then the worse its effects are on your body. If long term you're in this habit of sweet treats, letting yourself overindulge, overeat, splurge, your health and your wellness and your body, your metabolism, your microbiome, it's all going to change to reflect that, which then makes it even harder to make changes and make decisions moving forward. So it's definitely an uphill battle. It's really hard. It's a battle that's not for the weak. And if you weren't really raised to have a healthy relationship with food, I think it can be even harder because then you're like having to soft parent this adult version of yourself into having a healthy relationship with food. However, like I said before, nobody else is going to do it. So like, while yes, it's hard and while yes, it's challenging, none of the good things in this life come easy. And if you don't do it, nobody else is going to. Are you just betting on like having enough money to get liposuction? Having enough money to get a BBL? To get one of those like fake ab machines? No. We all know that those procedures can never equate to what hard work and discipline and commitment looks like in terms of like health and wellness and fitness, because that just like glows and radiates from the inside out. That muscle definition, those lines from being toned and being committed and being disciplined, you can't pay for that shit. You cannot buy that. And so don't try and brainwash yourself into thinking that you can, that there's an easy way out of this, because there's no easy way out. If you have an unhealthy relationship with sweet treats, now is your wake-up call. This is your wake-up call. I hear you. I feel you. And I believe that you are strong enough to overcome this, to make a change, make a switch up, and redefine what a sweet treat means to you. Redefine how you care for yourself and how you love yourself, in a way that is not equated to unhealthy processed garbage, because that is just delusion, and not in a good way, because your body needs whole foods. It needs fruits, it needs vegetables, it needs whole complex carbohydrates, protein, vitamins, minerals, nutrients, seeds, fats, omegas, all that good stuff. And loving yourself and caring for yourself requires fueling your body with all that good stuff, not garbage. And it's hard, it's tough when over half of the grocery store is filled with overprocessed, unhealthy, toxic, poison, garbage of food. And every single street corner has a fast food restaurant, a McDonald's, an A&W, a Subway. Like, you almost have to put horse blinders on when you leave the house and when you go through the grocery store, and tell yourself, like, don't look at it. Don't even look at it. Don't even let yourself look at it. Don't even let yourself consider it. And just remind yourself, that's not what my body needs. That's not what my organs want. That's not what's going to fuel me. That's not what's going to allow me to reach this next level and next potential of self-love and self-growth and health, wellness, nutrition, all that good stuff. So I feel as though that's all I have to say on this topic for now. This is definitely something that I have always struggled with and continue to struggle with. Yeah, it's not easy. It's really, really difficult. However, I think just starting with the mindset shift of, I want to fuel my body. I'm eating for nutrition and for fuel, not for satisfaction and comfort and indulgence. A lot of things start to shift, and you'll realize that a lot of what most people pack their everyday diet with are things that you don't want to be putting in your body. A lot of the options at restaurants, a lot of the options at the grocery store are not things that you need, and they're not things that you should be wanting and desiring, because if you really love yourself and you really care for yourself, you will see through the facade of sweet treats, and sweet treats being equated to self-love and self-care, because they're really not. Not when it becomes a habit, a routine of every single day you're choosing a sweet treat because you love yourself. If you loved yourself, you would say no to the sweet treat. Hate to break it to you. If you loved yourself, you would walk past most of the aisles. You wouldn't look at any of the baked goods in the baked goods section. You would buy whole foods, vegetables, fruits, nuts, seeds, fish, chicken. Tofu's kind of highly processed. I don't know. I'm still on the fence. I gotta learn a lot more about tofu. Beans, legumes, all that good stuff. Lentils. So yeah, that's it. That's all. I'm proud of you. You got this. And trust that moving forward, because I know it's not going to be easy, but trust that moving forward, it's going to get better and it's going to get easier with consistency and discipline. And slowly but surely, you'll realize that your body starts craving fruits over other things, and you no longer really want the sweet treats anymore. You no longer feel a desire, a craving to have those sweet treats. And it becomes a lot easier to say no, and to not look, and to not shop, and to not give in to those cravings and indulgences. So yeah, thank you so much for listening. Love you. Kisses. Bye.